New Year's resolutions are a staple for many this time of year. Others, they may think, that's a waste of time. Let's find out what author and motivational speaker Andy Feld has us to say. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Great to be back.
What do you think about that? Very important or a waste of time?
Well, for most people, either life is controlling you or you're controlling your life. And the resolutions are a way that you get to control the life. Another way of saying it, are you reactive to life or are you proactive to life? When you make those New Year's resolutions, you get control of your life. You start to get control in that proactive manner where you dictate what your life's going to be instead of just letting life come at you.
So personally, do you make a resolution?
Yeah, I do every year.
You do?
You're going to ask me one or two? Or,
what is it?
I like to keep them to myself. This year I'm going to try and just be much more allowing to other people, and even more than I normally do, try and remove myself from all the negativity that's out there.
That's what I'm trying to do. I want to live in the moment instead of worry about what could happen or what has happened.
There's so much out there, and that's what people like to talk about, and that's what the news brings us, of course.
It's hard.
And sometimes you just have to move yourself away from that. I call it above the fray, leave the fray, and be yourself in the moment. Yeah.
And I like that this year you're really helping us think differently with our resolutions as we approached, or we're in 2016 now. I mean, it's not just weight loss or dieting, it's also volunteering or mentoring.
Well, I think those are wonderful things. I think whenever you can put yourself on that edge a little bit of fear, you know, is okay. If you're someone who's afraid to speak in front of people, it might be good to speak in front of people. If you don't like being alone, then give yourself more alone time. If you're always with other people, maybe it's time to get a little of that private time. Do something that's a little different, that puts you on the edge a little bit, that kind of gets your juices going.
Challenges you.
It does challenge you. And then as you get challenged, your mind starts to function, you become sharper, and you actually become healthier too.
And don't you think it makes life a little more fun? Because when you have a challenge or you're doing something that's different than the everyday norm, it makes life exciting. And when you get that adrenaline going, it could actually make you healthier too.
Well, it makes you healthier, and it gives you more energy. So a lot of people who say they're tired, sometimes it is lack of sleep, but more often than not, being tired is lack of enthusiasm. So when you can step forward, try something new that typically increases your enthusiasm, as you increase your enthusiasm, almost always you get more and more energy.
Another idea you say is cleaning the clutter, and this can be relationships, friendships.
Yeah, I mean, clutter at home, clutter, you know, a cluttered car, a cluttered house, usually means a cluttered mind. And we need that mental clarity. We need that mental clarity when we're making our resolutions. What are we going to do today? What are we going to do next week? What are we going to do this year? Removing physical and mental clutter from our lives will reap, you know, tremendous advantages.
So how do we stay focused, though? Like, I always set out to resolve to make those resolutions, but along the way I tend to give up or I quit. How do you make sure you can stay focused even when the results aren't immediate?
Checklist. Number one, you have to have faith. You have to have faith that what you're going after is going to come. But it's a checklist. It's like when you go to the market or you wake up in this morning. You should have a little checklist every day. I always, you know, at times in the past, I put a little checklist on my mirror in my bathroom. A little checklist of what I need to do today in order to accomplish the goals I want. And if you have a checklist in a spot where you can't miss it, dashboard of the car is number one, maybe. Number two would be mirror at your sink in your bathroom, where you can't miss that little checklist of what you need to do in order to accomplish the goals you set out for yourself.
Let's go back to making things exciting and changing up your day a little bit. You say you can resolve to go back to school, maybe finish up something that you never finished in the past.
Yep. I think it's doing something new along those lines is what gets you excited. You know, school is nice. You talked about mentoring before. Whenever we step out of our box, Denise, just a little bit, we don't have to step out so far that we're totally frightened and we can't make that next step.
Right.
But stepping out of our box just a little bit, it gets the juices going, it gets us moving in that direction, and we don't have to accomplish everything all at once. Sometimes you take that first small step. I think a reason that some people kind of quit on their resolutions is they make that goal, they make that first step too large. Little steps, you know, you talk about how do you run the marathon with one step at a time. That how do you start to exercise? Yeah, you walk around the block. Small steps tend to lead to the bigger goal.
I also want to talk about, you say it's okay to have a bad day. Give yourself a bad day, and then also to celebrate when you're awesome.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't have a bad day?
Yeah.
I love working with competitive athletes because competitive athletes know you train, you get ready for an event, and no matter how hard you train, no matter how hard you prepare, you lose sometimes. So competitive athletes are great at getting going after a loss. But for the average person, sometimes when you prepare, you really are psyched for that moment, and it doesn't come out the way you want, it's tough to get up the next morning, isn't it? So you have to practice that. You have to practice getting ready, preparing, and knowing, hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. On the other hand, as you say, I always reward myself for a successful something. You may love something. You may like that expensive coffee, at the coffee shop. So something works well, hey, go get it for yourself. You may want to buy something for your car. Something works. Reward yourself. Spend that extra $20 maybe when something really good
Great
happens to
tips.
you.
Absolutely. Stay positive. Thank you for coming on the show and kicking off our new year with
You
us.
betcha.
You can check out andyfeld.net. That's andyfeld.net to learn more and read his favorite quote. His website is also where you can sign up for his newsletters and receive 3 free chapters of his book, We're Tipping Over. So check it out, okay? andyfeld.net.